Good evening. Call the meeting to order.
Welcome to Nixa City Hall. This video is going to provide you with an overview of how the City of Nixa conducts City Council meetings. We encourage everyone to attend and participate in City Council meetings. This is part of how democracy works at the local level, listening to the perspectives of subject matter experts, city residents, and other community members helps our elected leaders make more informed decisions. Before we start the meeting, let's review some of Council's rules of order. These rules help us make sure our meetings are orderly and efficient, while protecting the ability of everyone to have an opportunity to speak. Please be respectful of the person speaking and hold your own comments until it is your turn to speak. Presenters are invited by the Council to provide information during the meeting to the Council. These are informational presentations only, and nothing will be voted on at the time of the presentation. Presenters are not time limited. There are two times when all other visitors will be able to speak to Council. The first is during the visitor section of the agenda, and the second is during any public hearing regarding an agenda item. During the visitor section, anyone may speak to Council about any topic, whereas the public hearings regarding specific agenda items allow you to make comments for Council to consider before they make a decision on that topic. Whether you wish to speak during any public hearing or the visitor section, the following rules of order will apply. 1. Only one person should speak at a time. Be respectful of the person speaking and wait to speak until it is your turn. 2. Anyone speaking must do so from the podium and speak into the microphone. 3. You must first state your name and provide your address in writing to the city clerk before beginning your comments. 4. All speakers will be given 5 minutes to make their comments to the Council. The mayor or council may have additional questions for speakers after this 5-minute period. 5. All comments should be addressed to the mayor and council. 6. If you have questions about existing city processes, programs, or policies, or if you need assistance from staff on any issue, please contact City Hall during normal business hours and we'll be happy to assist you or answer any questions you may have at that time. The public hearing is designed to provide the public an opportunity to provide testimony and information to the mayor and council regarding the decisions they may be considering. Keep in mind this meeting will be recorded and live streamed with video and audio. Therefore, all comments relevant to this meeting must be spoken into a microphone, otherwise video viewers will not be able to hear you. In the case of a closed session or technical difficulties, some meetings or portions of meetings may not actually be recorded or streamed. The use of cell phones during council meetings is discouraged, so please silence all devices now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for engaging with the City of Nixa. The meeting will begin shortly.
Matt Ogden.
Here.
Sean Lucas.
Here.
Aaron Peterson.
Here.
Darlene Graham. Zern Vess.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. If everyone has had a chance to review the consent agenda, would anyone like to add or remove anything? If not, I will accept a motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Lucas, second by Mr. Vess. Roll call, please.
Zern Vess.
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Kelly Morris.
Yes.
Aaron Peterson.
Yes.
All right, we will start out the night with a couple service awards. First up, we have Nate Miller, 15 years, Public Works.
I'll give you some information on Nate. Nate's our Public Works Inspector. He was promoted to that position following Danny Newell's retirement. Prior to that, he served a number of years under Danny, learning the details of infrastructure inspection as well as our technical specifications, stormwater erosion control, and things like that to set him up for this position. Earlier in his career, he was originally hired as a meter reader for Ms. Robbins. Thank you very much. And he's also served as a code enforcement official in the development department. As our Public Works inspector. Nate is very important to the role of the city by ensuring that all our public infrastructure is installed not only to our standards, but also that of the Missouri Department of Transportation and the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. This includes infrastructure for new developments as well as our own capital projects. He's also our MS4, or Stormwater Quality Coordinator, where he monitors and ensures that all erosion control measures are taken at construction sites, as well as that we're carrying out all of the requirements for our MS4 permit, those items that we do internally, such as cleaning lines and those types of things. Nate does all the reporting to the state on those for us. Nate's involved in every aspect of infrastructure, from design review to pre-construction meetings to the construction process itself. The department heads and I look to Nate every day for information, for updates on projects. We look to him to help us when reviewing pay requests on major construction projects, because he tracks everything that's going on, so we keep those current and make sure we don't pay for things that they haven't completed yet. Nate's achieved certifications from the American Concrete Institute. He's also a certified inspector of sediment and erosion control. And more recently, in 2021, he was our Nixa Employee of the Year. So he's served in that role as well. He's well respected internally as well as by our consulting engineers and many of the numerous contractors he works with. He's recognized not only as knowledgeable about infrastructure, he's highly regarded as fair when it comes to oversight on projects, and we're proud to have him.
And Nate, for 15 years, you get to have your picture taken with me. All right, and next up, with only 5 years from the Parks Department, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, 5 years in parks is 15 years typically. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, as mentioned, Ryan Campbell joined the Parks Department 5 years ago and brought with him years of services and experiences in kids camps. Ryan's key job functions include all of our kids camps, including Summer It Up, Spring and Break Camp, Winter Break Camp. He also does spring and fall soccer program, martial arts, and serves as our NASP, or archery, instructor as well. Along with those, he does a lot of other smaller programs or jumps in with our special events. Ryan is a highly energetic employee that always is on the move or willing to jump in to help out. As you can imagine, running a kids camps with 100+ kids per week during the summer, soccer with 700+ per session or per season, and other various programs. He's a very busy guy, so we greatly appreciate his energy. We certainly appreciate Ryan and his contributions to the department and our community by facilitating high-quality programs and services. Thanks, Ryan.
Not to downplay Nate's award, Ryan, you also get your picture with me, so. Okay, now moving to awards and recognition. We have a lot of awards tonight. Katie Buford, Associate Fellow from Missouri Parks and Recreation Association.
So let me tell you a little bit about that. I'm happy to report that at our annual Missouri Parks and Recreation Association conference earlier this month, our very own Katie Buford was recognized as an associate by our association and presented with the Associate Fellow Award. This honor is awarded to professionals that have served as a leader for 3 or more years in the field of Parks and Recreation, provided outstanding contributions to the field of Parks and Recreation, and provided and done innovative and generated ideas and programs throughout the communities. This also serves through the association, or they serve with the association on the state or national levels to contribute to the profession, and have served their communities for more specified section within the association. This award shows the types of parks and recreation professionals that Katie is and the value that she brings to our department. Katie is currently serving as our region director for the Southwest region as well. Where much of this work is both in and outside of our department, the dedication and experience it allows her to obtain and bring back to the community is outstanding. We greatly appreciate Katie and her continued work to make our department and our community better through her outstanding work in Parks and Recreation, and we're glad to have her.
I don't have anything to give you, or not my award, so we can still take a picture later if you would like. Okay, moving on. This next award is the Citizen of the Year Award. We give this out. A lot of people help decide who this goes to. Someone who kind of goes above and beyond, does extra things to make the community a better place. And crazy enough, this person, we chose this back in November, December, somewhere. And after that, this person then volunteered for multiple more things within the city. So I have prepared a little something to read for this. So it's truly an honor to sit here before you today and recognize an individual who embodies the spirit of service and dedication to our community. As mayor, it gives me great pleasure to present the Citizen of the Year Award to someone who has tirelessly worked to make Nixa a better place for all of us. Today, we celebrate Nicholas Gertis, a man whose commitment to our veterans and our community has been nothing short of extraordinary. As the commander of American Legion Post 434, Nick has been a beacon of hope and support for our veterans, advocating tirelessly to ensure that they receive the care and recognition they deserve. Nick has gone above and beyond in his efforts to secure additional revenue sources for the American Legion, ensuring that they can continue their vital work in supporting our veterans. His dedication to welcoming our veterans home from the honor flight and his involvement in the Hero Run 5K, which raises funds for scholarships for military families, truly exemplifies his selflessness, generosity, and spirit. But Mr. Gertis' contributions to our community doesn't stop there. As a substitute teacher at Nixa High School and Nixa Junior High, he imparts knowledge and wisdom to our students, shaping the minds of tomorrow. He also is deeply involved in community events like the Nixa Christmas Parade, spreading joy and cheer wherever he goes. Mr. Gertis is more than just a volunteer. He is a pillar of strength and compassion in our community. His willingness to lend a helping hand, his unwavering dedication to service, and his genuine kindness serve as an inspiration to all of us. Mr. Gertis, on behalf of the citizens of Nixa, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude for everything that you do. You are a true hero in every sense of the word, and we are incredibly fortunate to have you as part of our community. Congratulations on being named Citizen of the Year, and may your example continue to inspire us all to make a difference in the lives of others. You get your picture with me as well.
Lovely award. I like getting this picture with you. No.
All right. That is all the awards for today. No offense to Bryant, who is presenting next, but micro paving probably doesn't sound really cool compared to everything we just had, so no offense. Next up, we have a presentation on micro paving benefits by Bryant Donaldson from Donaldson Construction.
Mayor, Council, good evening. We're reaching the time of year where we start some of our bigger projects on our roadways as far as asphalt maintenance and those types of things. One of the bigger things that we do in Nixa or try to do is preserve what we have in place now at a cheaper cost than complete reconstruction of the road. So I'd like to introduce Bryant tonight to let him kind of tell you some more of the details about the micro paving and the pressure paving that we utilize in Nixa and what those benefits are.
Thank you. I agree, it's not as interesting. Like he said, my name's Bryant Donaldson. My grandfather came over here about 50 years ago, started a quarry, now is run by my uncles and my father. And my father was a mechanical engineer. He would kill me if I got that wrong. Mechanical engineer, and he developed fuel system for fighter aircraft. And he developed those systems, decided paving was the way for him, and he got into this business a number of years ago and brought new technology to the industry. So that's what you guys are using on your roads. So what you guys have utilized in the past is something that has been patented, tested, utilized in 15 different states, from San Antonio to Orlando, Florida, to Lincoln, Nebraska, up in Chicago, everywhere in between. So what you guys are using right now is called pressure pave. And it's brand new technology and utilizing a system that's been around for almost 20 years. Greene County has used this. It has a surface life of about 15 years, about half the cost of a mill and overlay, but can treat streets that are in that category that mill and overlay treats. So anything that's significantly cracked. This saves a lot of money, doubling the amount of miles that cities can do per year. And what the ideal program is that you guys can utilize the pressure pave system, cut costs, so that you guys have enough money later on to rebuild streets that have gone that far. And so some of the benefits of pressure pave, we pressure inject a crack sealant down into the pavement, all while we're paving the street with a thin surface treatment, thin asphalt overlay. So we're injecting that crack sealant into the cracks, and over time, little, what we call hairline cracks reappear, and but the ductile sealant underneath remains intact. And so that's something that's totally unique to the industry, is that once an asphalt street eventually cracks, that permeates, allows water to permeate the street and begin the degradation process. This is something that our system corrects. The sealant underneath our driving surface remains intact with hairline cracks and does not allow water to penetrate. So that's something that's unique. It is drivable in less than 30 minutes, and I think that about covers it. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Anybody have any questions?
I'm just curious what the process actually is.
What's that?
I'm just curious about the process itself.
Okay. So what it is it's a, if you can imagine one big machine, say like a trash truck. And on the back of that trash truck, you have, if you can think of them as piano keys that touch the road. And as the road is going along, those piano keys are injecting crack sealant down into the pavement, contained by small boxes. And so as the road undulates and moves, it can undulate and move with it. And that way it's always clean. You're not getting a spray like you would a chip seal or a fog seal or something that you spray on a parking lot. This is a protected system that it's not going to get on driveways or mailboxes, and it's going to be pushed down into that crack, making sure that it's filled, because we're moving at about 6 feet per second. And so what we're doing is injecting it, and at the same time, a second stage of the process is we're laying typically a 1/4-inch surface. And we have different versions for different applications. Residential, where we have 1/4-inch for, say, collectors or arterials, which are heavily trafficked areas. That's our 3/8-inch surface. And so, depending on what surface you want, is laid right after that. So in one pass, we're doing all of that. And then you wait 30 minutes, and then it's drivable.
Okay.
Does the outdoor temperature, does that affect how quick it hardens?
Oh yeah, for sure. So this whole system is chemically driven to dry. So the typical is 30 minutes, and we can do 30 minutes at night. So it doesn't need the sun to dry. But in the middle of July, and whenever we usually do you guys, which is probably around August, the dry time can be as little as 10 minutes. So that's really the only difference in what that weather makes. And if it rains on it after 20 minutes, it doesn't bother the system. It's not going to leak into driveways or anything like that. So it's a guarded system.
Trying to think of anything else. Any other questions? No.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
All right. We will now open the visitor section. Do we have any?
Ron Sanders.
Yeah, it might get hot in here. Got a really tough one tonight. Hello, my name's Ron Sanders. Live at 976 Glen Oaks Drive. And tonight's title is If I. I didn't grow up in a small town so much as a suburb. Left it, joined the Army, traveled the world, and I finally got to settle down just a few years ago here. But if I grew up in a small town, I think I would do some things. I would pay attention to local news. I would probably read the newspaper a little bit more. And this is kind of like if I knew back then what I know now, of course. I would ask a lot more questions. I would get a little bit more involved. I would dig a little bit deeper into, subjects that might affect me. If I were in a small town, if I grew up in a small town and stayed there, I would be more involved in the community. I would go to all of those events. I would go to those barbecues. I would go to all of the school events, football games, basketball games, Christmas parades, whatever is going on in the community. I would definitely be getting involved a little bit more than I normally would, than a lot of people would. If I were growing up in a small community and if I lived here forever, I would consider what's best for the people in my community. I would get involved in things like this. I would watch out for other people at those events and normal everyday life. We come across people that we don't know or we barely know. I would pay a little bit more attention to them and what they're going through and what they've gone through and what's going on with them at that moment. Sometimes it's good to say, hi, how you doing? And them actually tell you how they're doing. It's pretty interesting. And it expands your worldview just a little bit more to hear somebody tell you how they're doing instead of just saying, oh, it's a good day in passing. Now, some of the things that I wouldn't do, I wouldn't just work and go to work all day and just keep to myself. I wouldn't just drive back and forth and go shopping and everything and just ignore everybody else. I wouldn't just walk through life and walk through public, not noticing everybody around me and the lives that they have. I definitely wouldn't try to get rich off of my community. If I were ever put in a position, I wouldn't try to leverage anything on my community for my benefit. that just seems to be wrong. It just seems to be something that would haunt me forever. I wouldn't take advantage of my friendships. I wouldn't take advantage of my associations or anything like that. I would definitely respect that. I wouldn't argue with people so much. I would show them the respect and keep it civil. I would definitely have the conversations, though. Hard conversations need to be had. And sometimes it takes some intestinal fortitude and moral courage to break through those subject matters that are bothering everybody, but nobody wants to talk about. But I wouldn't lose friends over it. I would make sure that I wouldn't give up the civility. My point is that we have to raise ourselves up. We have to continuously look at ourselves in the mirror. And anytime something comes up, we have to say, what could I have done better before we ever levy any criticism on somebody else? What could they have done better? It's quite a coincidence that I came up with this idea to speak tonight, because I didn't know that Nick Gerdes was going to be the Citizen of the Year. But it seems that he fits perfectly into this little speech that I decided to give, because if I grew up in a small town and I was doing everything that I wanted to do, I think I would want to be a little bit more like Nick Gerdes. Did I say it right, Gerdes? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Okay, we don't have anybody else signed up, so if you would like to speak on something that is not on the agenda, you can do so at this time. I will go ahead and close the visitor section. All right. Moving on to our second reading of ordinances, Council Bill 2024-09.
Second reading Council Bill number 2024-09, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2024 annual budget for the purpose of funding brush grinding services at the city's wastewater treatment plant. Presenting is Assistant Public Works Director Travis Cossey.
Thank you, Becca. Mayor and Council, at the March 11th meeting, we introduced a request for a budget amendment in the amount of $30,000 to accommodate brush grinding down at the wastewater treatment plant. As a recap of that discussion, we have exceeded our capacity down at the wastewater treatment plant with brush due to normal operations, collecting brush at the recycling center, as well as our tree trimming policy and process that we have, coupled with the large storm that we had July 31st. We're busting at the seams. So we're in a position where we're needing to move ahead with brush grinding to clear space up on top of the hill to accommodate more brush through our normal operations, and hopefully not from another storm, but if that were to occur, we would be able to handle that as well. As a note and a reminder, fortunately, because of the storm in July, this $30,000 that we're going to be spending on brush grinding is a reimbursable expense through FEMA due to a declaration of disaster made for Christian County. So with that, staff is requesting approval of the request for a budget amendment in the amount of $30,000 for the wastewater department.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Cossey.
Thank you.
If there are no questions, I will open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak about brush grinding, go for it. All right. I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept the motion.
I'll make the motion. Second.
First by Mr. Ogden, a second by Mr. Vess. Roll call, please.
Zern Vess,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, moving on, second reading, Council Bill 2024-10.
Second reading Council Bill number 2024-10, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending Chapter 12, Article 5, Chapter 117, Article 8, and Section 11799 of the Nixa City Code for the purpose of modifying the city's regulations related to mobile retail uses. Presenting is Planning and Development Director Scott Gabby.
Mayor, council, good evening.
This is an extensive overhaul of our mobile vending code. For the most part, we are keeping the current language and using it into one of our new categories, which is considered a temporary mobile vendor. Those are the ones that typically just come and go. Those will be allowed in our commercial zoning districts as well as our industrial and also our common areas of residential zoning districts. That's kind of the only real change there. They still will not be allowed, as currently written, to have a drive-through or access to municipal utilities. And then another section that we're adding is long-term mobile vendors, or mobile retailers. These are the ones that are allowed to stay in place for longer than 12 hours with written permission from the property owner. This category, they will be allowed to have a drive-through, as well as they will be required to hook onto municipal electric. That way they're not operating off of generators. There we go. It also requires the property owner to invest a little bit in their property by extending the needed utilities to that site. The big change that we're making is adding food truck parks as a use in this category now. So there will be a required for a site plan review. There is a whole list of requirements that there'll need to be. There'll be vendor pads set up. There will be all utilities ran to these vendors pads, so that way it's basically set up like an RV park. That's the way it's easy access for these retailers. The other thing is that these will no longer require a special use permit, so they will not be coming in front of P&Z or City Council. It'll be just staff review. There are a list of requirements that need to be followed in the ordinance change. The other big thing is that we're moving it out of Chapter 12 and moving it into Chapter 117, which is under Land Development Code. We have worked with the Planning and Zoning Commission for probably about a year now, off and on, trying to refine the language, as well as working with the legal department to get this ready for you all. There was a public hearing held at the last P&Z meeting at March 4th. Nobody approached the commission with any concerns or questions, and the commission voted unanimously to recommend approval to City Council. Staff is recommending approval because it will provide a new land use for us, which is food truck parks, which we have been getting a lot of requests for. So staff does recommend the approval of the code change. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Godby.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I will open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak on mobile retail uses. Nope. I will close the public hearing. I think we probably got all of our questions answered at the last meeting, so if there's no other questions, I will accept the motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
First by Mr. Vest, second by Mr. Peterson. Roll call, please.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Kelly Morse.
Yes.
All right. Second reading, Council Bill 2024-11.
Second reading Council Bill number 2024-11, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending Section 11799 of the Nixa City Code to modify provisions related to daycare uses. Presenting is Planning and Development Director Scott Godby.
Mayor, Council, good evening. This is not an extensive overhaul of our table of approved uses. That will hopefully come later. That's a much bigger project that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. But this is a simple change in our table of approved uses. We are removing a use, child care homes, which is not currently defined within our definitions, and replacing it with a similar use that is defined in our table or in our definition section, to where child daycare centers will be allowed in neighborhood commercial, general commercial, and highway commercial zoning districts, where currently, as you see in the red there, child care homes are only allowed in the neighborhood commercial with a special use permit. We do have some that are operating in general commercial with a special use permit. Rather than tying them down and requiring that additional permitting, we are just making it an approved use in these zoning districts. We did read this at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting earlier this month, and there was no opposition to it. So the commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval. We did reach out to our neighboring communities to see how they handle situations like this, and they also allow daycare centers to operate as an approved use in all their commercial zoning districts. So this will put us in line with our neighboring communities. So staff does recommend approval. If you have any questions, I'm available.
I do have one question. The liquor laws and stuff, like with liquor and marijuana, do both of those apply to daycares, schools, churches?
Yes.
As far as the distance from those?
Yeah, there is a required distance.
Do we have any concerns with, because I know this came up because the one in question is at, 14 in Maine?
Yeah, correct.
Do we have any concerns that one instance, like I feel like if a daycare is in a commercial district, that should probably not be a deal because you could walk, it'd be less than the total distance to a store that would serve alcohol or.
I believe our distance requirement is quite minimal. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it is also the legally traveled pass, so therefore it adds a little more distance to it as well. So I don't believe there would be any conflict.
That would be my only concern is putting something in a commercial district that prohibits commercial activity, if that makes sense.
Understood. I don't know the distance off the top of my head, though. I don't know if...
I know, it would all depend on where something went.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd hate to kind of lock up a commercial district with, and I apologize, I don't know why I just thought about this and not for the last 6 weeks when we've talked about it.
It's a good point.
I can tell you I don't have any liquor licenses currently at that intersection. The closest would be the mill. But currently I don't have any other liquor licenses at that particular intersection.
But overall, the concern is that it could
But
potentially
overall,
take away a retail
Yeah.
space.
Yeah,
Looking at where that area might grow, the closest next developable parcel
it
is
would-
literally right across the
Mayor,
street.
And
Mayor
I-
and council, sorry, it's 100 feet
100
feet.
Yep. From any existing,
Staggered, does it make it?
well,
Can you
depends
go
on how you
further?
go that way. It's 100 feet, exists between any business licensed to sell intoxicating liquor and any previously established school, church, or building regularly used as a place of worship.
Okay.
So I don't also see daycare in there.
So, yeah.
So we should be fine.
I don't think daycares qualify as a school.
The churches are under general, aren't they?
Churches can go in any zoning district.
Yeah,
So they could.
but their parking lot makes them 100 feet.
Same thing.
Is it property line or building?
It's from front door to front door. A walk. It's front door to front door, so sidewalk.
Sidewalk, crosswalk.
Yeah.
Of the front door?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I just said my front door's on the back.
So we've had something similar happen with a church and somebody wanting to sell, and it's front door to front door.
Okay.
So it'd be 100 feet front door to front door.
It has to be the legal.
It would be,
Pass.
it would be the legal pass, so it couldn't be,
Yeah.
it could be me to you if there's a street that kind of L's, you would follow the street.
Yeah, go across the crosswalks. and-
Crosswalks, yeah.
Okay. I just want to double check.
Yeah, because I can see where.
It's good. Thank you.
And again, I apologize for not thinking about that until now. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Godby.
Jimmy, did you say that, Mr. Lyles, did you say that did cover daycares or did not cover daycares? When you, did it say that when you looked it up?
Sorry, Mr.
Oh,
Lucas,
I'm
what was
sorry.
that?
Did you say that did cover daycares? or
That is
no?
not listed in here.
I don't think the
No,
daycares are
it's
listed on
just
there anyway.
school, church, and building regularly used as place of worship.
Is that for alcohol?
That is for a license to sell alcohol.
Okay. Maybe it was the when marijuana was legalized, because I'm pretty sure daycares were included in that one.
Yep, I'll have to look at that one.
I thought we mirrored it for the liquor.
I thought we did too.
I believe they are. Daycare's in the Amendment 3, the recreational marijuana and medical
Okay.
marijuana stuff.
Okay, thank you. We duplicated the distance. That's what
We
it
didn't
was.
duplicate.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Just learned a lot. Any other questions? I will open up the public hearing, if you would like to speak on this.
I have to inquire. My name is Ron Sanders. When you start talking about special use permits for daycares in residential areas, would that be like taking somebody's house that wants to have a daycare in their house and then give them a special use permit to where it becomes commercial?
No, because you're not required to have a business license for a business at home. So that was that residential or commercial, where the special use permits were at for daycares?
Those were currently they were for neighborhood commercial as well as the residential zoning districts, but due to the House Bill 1662, which limits our ability to regulate home occupations, we are also removing that from our table of approved uses in the residential zoning district.
The only reason I'm asking is because a lot of HOA subdivisions have, prohibitions or restrictions to having those types of, businesses in those areas. And I was just wondering if this would trump that or how it would relate to those covenants on the land in HOAs and in subdivisions like that.
No, on that, I mean, your HOA, it's going to go back on them every time, since we don't police HOA covenants. If someone opened up one, there's not anything we could do about it, but your HOA could put a stop to it.
And that bill or that law now keeps you guys from meddling in home businesses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Anyone else would like to speak? All right. I will close the public hearing. Any other questions? Any other things from staff? All right, I will accept the motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
First by Mrs. Morris, a second by Mr. Ogden. Roll call, please.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
All right, moving on to our resolutions. First up is Resolution 2024-16.
Resolution number 2024-16, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa designating a downtown district. Presenting is Planning and Development Director Scott Gotti.
Hello, Mayor, Council, good evening. This is staff's effort to identify a downtown area for city purposes. This is strictly for future placemaking efforts if we were to want to change out signs or create some type of different feel between the rest of the city and a specific downtown zoning district, or not zoning district, downtown district. That's what staff is attempting to do here. This main thing what this is not the Nixa Downtown Revitalization Committee's district borders. They have their own. This is also not a map showing where we want to possibly do a future downtown zoning district. This is simply a small start to identifying a downtown area for the city of Nixa, something that's manageable that we can expand into if needed, or expand out if needed. So staff does recommend approval, as this will help us aid in future placemaking efforts for the downtown area.
Any questions?
There is a map if you scroll down.
Thank you, Mr. Godby.
Walking away now.
Yeah, no questions. Right? All right, if no other questions, we will open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak on this matter, do so at this time. You just trying to speak more than Mr. Godby tonight?
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up. Ron Sanders again. Wouldn't this be something that we should wait for the 2045 comprehensive plan to to finalize and then make the decision?
They don't define the downtown district, so we actually have to do it by resolution.
Yeah, but what if we don't want this as the downtown district? What if
Then we
we,
can change it. So
pick
the
a
purpose
different
of this
spot?
is there are some grants available right now that we're trying to help a private company get.
Gotcha.
So they can do things to their property, but we have to have that done by resolution before they can even apply for a grant. So the good thing about it is start small and we can always expand on it. It's a lot better than starting big and then taking away areas because then it gets into like muddy water, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yep, thank you. If anyone else would like to speak? We know you love to speak. Public speaking is your favorite. All right. I'll leave it open. All right.
Lots of members here.
Since it is still open, if any of you have any questions, feel free to come up and ask.
Hi, I'm Courtney McKinney. What, can I ask what the business is? Is that allowed? I'm just curious.
Due
is
to
it-
a non-disclosure with them, I can't
Okay.
really talk about it.
Will it be open to all businesses down there then, this grant?
Yes.
For,
Yep, so this is a grant through the Department of Economic Development at the state level.
Right.
So anyone can actually look up the grant on the DED website.
Okay.
And would have the ability to apply.
to apply? Okay, so once we can kind of designate a certain area, then
Yes.
those
Yep.
businesses?
Absolutely.
Cool, thank you.
Great question.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. No other questions. I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? Anything else from staff? All right, I will accept the motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Lucas, a second by Mr. Peterson. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Moving on to the last resolution, 2024-17.
Resolution number 2024-17, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with Midwest Infrastructures and Coding for clarifier rehabilitation services. Presenting is Assistant Public Works Director Travis Cossey.
Yes, included in this year's capital improvements program is funding for the lining and rehabilitation of Clarifier 2 down at the wastewater treatment plant. This is a clarifier that is 22 years old. Because of that, the concrete has started showing stress signs due to its age. This is a product this is the same process that we've talked about and used for our manholes as well as our sewer lines. We've used Midwest Infrastructure in the past to line those manholes to extend the life of them. This same product is being proposed to be used on our Clarifier 2 down at the wastewater treatment plant to dramatically extend the life of that facility. Unlike our manholes, though, it is a much larger project, which required it to be funded as a capital improvement program. It is a 105-foot wide diameter basin that is 13 feet deep that holds 950,000 gallons of product in order for the treatment process. In addition to the clarifier lining that we're going to do to the concrete, we'll also be sandblasting and recoating the steel structure that's located in the clarifier. On a center pin inside the clarifier is a steel structure that provides a skimmer for the top of the water that continually rotates to skim the surface while that unit is in operation. So we have a budget of $625,000. Midwest Infrastructure, through our cooperative program, has extended a bid price of $570,500. So we are within the budget that was authorized in the 2024 Capital Improvements Program. And staff is recommending that City Council authorize City Administrator Jimmy Lyles to sign the contract with Midwest Infrastructure.
Any questions?
So you have an estimated time on, like, I guess, how long this will help it for, or like, is this good for another 10 years, 15 years, or?
Yeah,
5 years?
they
Yeah.
they claim their product will go 20 to 35 years.
It's pretty
That's a claim. We've had great success with we've been using it since, let's see, I think 2011 or 2012 is when we first started our I&I program. Is that correct? Or? Yeah. That's what I was thinking, the manhole. This is very similar to our manhole process because they're concrete lined. So, and we've had great success with it. They have drastically helped not only the structure of the manholes, but also the flow and with that, the lifespan of them. So we're very hopeful that we will get a lot of good additional time. To rebuild a clarifier is a mind-boggling expense.
I imagine. So just this clarifier is in use today, right? Or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
We have.
I didn't know if we had to shut it down or if it's at that point or no.
Sure, yeah, they'll have to shut it down to use it. We have 4 clarifiers down at the plant, 2 that are the 105-foot diameter, 950,000 gallon clarifiers, and then we have 2 that are part of the original plant that are smaller, but all 4 can be used. They all have interconnection, so the plant currently uses on a regular basis one of the 2 larger clarifiers. So we're timing this to hopefully they'll be doing this in the summertime when we have a traditionally low flow, so we can move all our product into clarifier 1 and allow clarifier 2 to be cleaned, lined, and rehabilitated.
That was obviously where I was getting at. Is I know the system's pretty taxed right now as we're trying to get everything else built on the second system. So I know we estimated how long it'll be down for, just like you said.
The actual process itself will probably take about 3 to 4 weeks, but we've given them a time frame to December 1st, because obviously we're going to try to time it when it's best and appropriate to take that clarifier out of service.
The citizens appreciate that. They don't have
Yeah.
And just to clarify, because I know that this question was brought up to Sean Lucas and a few other city council people, but we don't know of any leaks at this time from that. It's just that could develop leaks over time, right? But at this time, we don't know of any leaks. Okay.
Yes, no,
just because it was that, we actually had a letter not too long ago, an email about that, so I want to make sure that was stated. But we don't know of any leaks.
No, this is a maintenance process to extend the life of the clarifier. We do not have any known problems at this time.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Costa.
Thank you.
There's no other questions. I will open up the public hearing. You would like to speak on this? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Anything else from council? Anything else from staff? I will accept the motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Lucas, second by Mr. Peterson. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. All right. New business. Splash pad fees and location.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I think Drew's going to bring up a small PowerPoint for me so that we can discuss this. But as he's bringing it up, I'll kind of start getting down the line here. Our project goal, if you'll recall, the splash pad is a part of the engineering that we did during our pool leak repair process. We determined that just doing the pool leak repair, getting the pool back up and running, getting the concrete deck back and going, thank you, Joe, is not very showy for our public. They were going to come back to a pool that looks exactly the same, other than you might be able to tell some difference in concrete from new to old concrete. And so our ideas here were to repair the pool and add more amenity, add more play value, add more for the pool. And so the repairs include the underground piping of the recirculation system, as we need to fix our issue. This elevates an area within the pool for a play structure for us to get the piping in that we need to, so that we can abandon the zero depth entry returns. Remedia the filters. They see around a 25-year lifespan, and so we are definitely within that. Add a new pump for the play structure, and then update the pump house piping. The new amenities that we started considering during this process would be more concrete pool decking, more space for people, new shade structures, obviously the play structure that we referred to, and the additional splash pad. Again, adding just more play value, more play for the pool itself. By making these repairs and doing that, it will make the pool like new again, right? We're a 22-year-old pool. Redoing all the lines, filters, and everything will get us another 20, 25, 30 years out of the pool area. So to give you kind of a rough idea, this is the play structure that will go in the pool. And so we're elevating a portion of the zero depth area so we can put our piping that needs to for the recirculation system under that, adding a play area. This play area will be about where we call him Timmy the Tiger Shark, but our fiberglass Tiger Shark slide for little kids is currently. This is kind of the rundown and the look for the pool itself with splash pad as we have designed currently. And so you see the splash pad is that kidney-shaped area, oval-ish area just to the west or the bottom of the screen here. It's using the water and electricity that we can get from the pool. And when I say water, it's fresh water. It's not using any pool water. It's not tied to the pool in any way. It's pulling fresh water that we have for the line that's coming into the pump house for the pool, and then electricity that we have the space for within the pump house. This is kind of the general look of the pool that we have designed, or of the splash pad that we have designed. I've got a few pictures of that, just a few different angles. Ignore the 4, 5, 6-story buildings in the background. We don't have those. But we know that location has been something of discussion from council. And so we wanted to open that forum up, open that discussion up for you this evening. Just please know that the atmosphere, inclement weather, oversight, and adequate parking are things that we are really needing to consider with the splash pad, just to make sure that we are operating it in a way that we can keep up with. And so we can go into those a little bit more that way. Currently, during our design phase, we had included this as an amenity of the pool, thinking that it would be something that you pay to get into the pool. You have access to the splash pad. The one thing with the splash pad is it can be open earlier. It can be open later, as it's not tied to the pool itself. And so those are things that we can discuss. And so now I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I think you guys may have some questions regarding this addition.
I'll gladly go first. So a couple things in my opinion. Places I've gone, the splash pads I've seen, they're usually tied to a play area where kids get hot and then they go over on this other side and they can cool off in the splash pad. At no point I think that I ever really I don't think it should be something that people have to pay to use. And then it being able to be opened before the pool is opened and opened after the pool is closed, and even randomly turned on in November if it's a nice day. Having it in with the pool, I think, is not the best idea. I like the idea of moving it over by the actual playground. I know that there's some other things I think we have water over there and that's it. We would need electricity.
Yeah, we would definitely be extending water
at the same time.
If we
distance. Pull electricity over there, that's going to solve our issue of not having adequate electricity for cameras and different things that we could possibly do on the playground. And then just for the fact of I think it would be a nightmare for people who are working, lifeguards and such, if it's part of the pool and then people want to run over and be on the playground for a little bit and then come over and be in the splash pad, and you're going to be tracking in grass and all sorts of stuff into the pool area, and then tracking the kids who paid to get into the pool but now want to go over to which I don't know how you do that anyway, as far as going from the pool to the playground and back and forth.
They're hand stamps. So we stamp their hand
For
with
being in the water.
Stamp. Well,
like
that
work.
Doesn't work. When they're leaving the pool, it
Okay.
works. When they're going to a splash pad per se, that method wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Because my vision is the splash pad is by the pool or by the park area. Because when we first got to talking about it and it being kind of by that pool area, then I got really concerned about people leaving the splash pad to go over to the play area, the actual playground, and crossing that road right there, and the kind of the danger of that, which it still might be something we need to address anyway with either speed bumps or crosswalk or something. But that's where my mind is at, is have the splash pad, one, free, and 2 closer to the playground.
So was the splash pad originally outside or inside the fenced area of the pool?
It is directly outside the fenced area. So if I go back, sorry.
Which I thought that's what I interpreted. So I still had questions on how we were going to allow people to come play in the pool and then play the splash pad and then back to the pool and drag grass.
That one would be a difficult one, and it kind of goes into that atmosphere, if you will, or the play value. If it is outside the pool area, a free amenity, when we hit adult swim 10 minutes prior to every hour, the flood out the pool gate, which would be, I think this has a pointer on it, maybe. Yeah, right. So your pool gate is somewhere right up in here.
Mm-hmm.
They would be flooding out and around to get into your splash pad area over here. And I'll do that on this side. Pool gate here, coming around. So this line here is the existing fence for the pool. So they would be coming into an entrance for the splash pad here. Here is a gate from the pool into the same splash pad. And so if it was an amenity of the pool, the gate would be opened here as a free flow area during pool operations.
But what would keep kids from being on splash pads and then just going in that way to the pool without going to the main entrance of the pool?
That gate would be closed.
Okay.
If it's a free amenity, we would most likely close that gate, or I guess we wouldn't necessarily have to have it. I would recommend keeping it, but it would be a closed space. It would remain closed and locked 99% of the time.
So in my opinion, if it's up by the pool, it needs to be fenced in with the pool,
Right.
paid to go to the pool. That way you're not having to try to track what kids have paid, what kids have not, and it keeps all your filth from grass, dirt coming into your pool, which is not good on the pool.
It's not. Now, do recognize that we also have grass area within our pool currently and have for the last 22 years. So we've mitigated that very well.
Right. But you got kids running in and out, it's going to
Pick
make
up
that
more.
a lot worse. To me, if it's by the pool like you have it designed now, it all needs to be included in the pool, not free. It's when you pay to get in the pool, you pay to get in the splash pad. It's all fenced off. Or if we want to make it free, we can open it sooner or later. I'm going to go back with what Jared was saying, is moving it down by the play area. That way it's completely separate, and you're not going to have that traffic back and forth. That's my opinion on it. It needs to be one or the other, either together, if it's side by side, or separate in a different location.
Currently outside the pool too, I also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the landscape there, it's kind of a hill that's right there, so we have to do a lot of infill to level that splash pad out?
We do not. They are working with the level area that is there.
Okay.
And so it is on top of the hill. There's a willow tree there. It took a pretty bad beating from that storm that were brush removal and grinding there. That tree would need to come out in order to produce the space for this. But there is plenty of flat space there, and this does fit within that.
Anything from the left side?
I just have concerns about sometimes it's free and sometimes it's not free. Is that's a,
Yeah.
we have enough confusion, I think, with stuff, that's kind of,
That is a
I'm with Matt.
possibility.
Like if it's part of the pool, it's part of the pool, which would be unfortunate. I think when we originally started talking about it, I was looking for it as an attractor for people to hang out in the hotter parts of and nice days in the spring and nice days in the fall to kind of use it. So I guess I envisioned that it would have times for free, but it seems like it would have to be one way or the other. And if it was moved, I do have also another concern about being too close to like both sides of the fence, too close to the playground equipment. Is there any playground equipment that would maybe have an element of danger if it got too wet or if too much water got drug off? But are you envisioning it a little bit further from the playground, so it's still part of the playground, but I don't know if it's 30 feet's enough for you probably know how long a kid can get out of a splash pad and walk before they're relatively dry. That's
Right.
probably part of your life. But
There's always going to be that a little bit of element. And so, yes, kids running around barefoot with wet feet, playground equipment gets much slicker. Same thing with wet swim trunks and things like that. I don't know that it's an overly large concern, but it is something that we would have to mitigate and probably try to make sure there's rule signs out there, get your shoes on and things like that to help mitigate any slickness. I don't know, the heat of the summer, I think you'd probably dry out pretty quick.
I'd just like to say that, yeah, most of the communities that I've been in that have had a splash pad have it in an area with some other type of park equipment, and it's generally free. And so I would be inclined to do something more along those lines as well, like maybe putting it closer to the playground equipment. That's kind of my thoughts on that too.
I feel like a lot of them do it in lieu of a pool.
You see them a lot in lieu of pool or in just a completely different area.
Yeah.
Typically, the pool is nowhere in sight, could even be across town or in a completely different location. It's why they put the splash pad there. Yes, being right beside the pool, there are plenty of pools that do have splash pad features and water play features as an additional amenity of their pool. And so it really varies more for the community and what their desire is.
I feel like if we didn't have the shallow area for young kids at the pool, then it would make sense to have this as part of the pool for the younger kids. But since, the pool already accommodates that.
Well, as a mom of a 2-year-old, having it separate from the pool is a lot less stressful for me.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have to, you chase them around anyway, but having that less worry of, is he going to start straight to the pool and go head first? Or since it's separate, I have a little bit more leeway to catch him rather than him going straight to the pool.
And part of that is mitigate a little bit just to kind of help ease that fear with the gate system. It's a much smaller zone instead of just being completely wide open for that transfer from pool to splash pad. It's kind of why the gate remained.
Yeah, and I like that.
And they left that one in there for that reason.
Yeah.
Is there a fence around the splash pad?
Yes, sir.
Is that blue line that's going around it?
Yes, the thin blue line here, and I'll show
So
it
that's
over
where
here
the
just so you
talk
guys
about
see.
having it open for free and having it closed off for paid is kind of part of that.
Correct.
If we moved it, would we have any need for a fence?
I think you would still want to fence it for the off periods, the off times of the year, inclement weather, and things like that. It would still be best to go ahead and close that down.
Okay.
I've been trying to do some visiting. I know C.A. Lyles and I spoke last week about it, so I've been trying to do a little bit of research with this. I've asked a few questions of the engineers. Of course, we planned it for this site where we have all of the infrastructure we need. So stormwater, this would empty towards stormwater. I don't have that in very many places along the playground area, so I'm having him look at that and what our issues may be with that too.
And there are whole
there's going to be a lot of
to the south of it?
It
goes down.
It goes down, yeah. And it's, yes, that way. I don't know that we can dump pool water through that system or through that means. And so there's going to be some more investigation that we need to do.
At that point, it'd just be fresh water, though.
Matt, I haven't heard you talk about staffing. Is this going to be a staffed, or is it going to be passive? And then, what are the rules as far as who's allowed on the splash pad? Can you bring your dog? Is it primarily designed for young children, or how do you envision that as far as, sectioning it off? Ms. Morris mentioned that, it's primarily, she envisions that for younger children, but is there going to be an age limit? Are you looking at, what are your parameters?
Yeah, no, typically there aren't. I guess we can. Staffing it, no, not necessarily. As a part of the pool, we would know that is going to be a very high-trafficked area during our adult swim, so we would be funneling staff that direction. I don't know that we can do that if it's outside of that pool area. They need that quick connection back and forth in case there's a pool emergency. So if it was in a completely different location, no, it would not be staffed. We would need to check chemical levels every 2 to 4 hours as required by the CDC. But keep up with chemical levels, inclement weather becomes an issue in getting it shut down and making sure that people aren't on it during inclement weathers, as that's not a safe period. But then, yes, they police themselves. It's open to typically anyone, no dogs, not preferably anyways. However, it is on a concrete surface, so is a dog really going to hurt the space? No, but to save that interaction, we would have rule signs posted and hope that people would follow those rules.
And then I'll add to that, because the comment was made earlier about typically, we would like to have the splash pad on maybe an opposite end of town than the pool. Matt and I looked at that quite in-depthly. We looked at Rotary Park, for example, and we just ran into issues with parking, staffing to be able to shut it down during inclement weather, not having anybody anywhere near that area typically. So we just ran into a lot of challenges, which really pushed us back to the Macaulay Park area. But we definitely did try to look at other areas of town that this might be doable, but we just kind of ran into a lot of roadblocks.
So when you have Adult Swim, do you have, in years past, do you have a lot of kids that leave the pool and go over to the playground?
Not typically, no.
That's why.
Although, if you'll recall, we didn't open last year.
Yeah, I recall that, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
May was our first year with the new playground. So what does that do to traffic? I don't know. We have not seen that yet. I guess it is certainly possible. The new playground attracts some people. It's 10 minutes. It's not a super long time, but it is a quick jaunt to the splash pad if they were to leave and go that well. We would expect people would probably do that frequently. Probably more of our older junior high age that may be without parents.
Gotcha. Now, isn't most of your splash pads just fresh water?
No, not necessarily. It's about a 50-50. They do a pass-through. It consumes a very large amount of water in pass-through, and so it's using fresh water all the time, usually 1 million+ gallons a month. So I don't know why anyone does that route. This one would be held. It would have a storage tank that would hold, and it would recirculate water. So it has filters, chlorine, pH balance, and everything, so that we can mitigate any disease or things that way.
So with that being said, whenever we're in the hot summer months where we haven't had rain, would we be possibly shutting down the splash pad if we are asking the community to conserve water?
That would be a question, are we going to close the pool down for that same reason? They would balance the same.
Well, hopefully we're not putting that much water in the pool every day again.
Well, he says it has a holding tank.
It would have its own holding tank, so not pass through. I don't think Doug wants to give us 1 million gallons of water a month. That's a lot of water. So no, it would have its own holding tank, so it would probably only use, and I'm having them run the numbers, but maybe 300 or 400 gallons a day. It would not be a very large amount.
Oh, okay.
You'll lose that through evaporation and what kids wear out and take out with them. So the pool probably uses on average 3,000 to 5,000 gallons a day. So it's still quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we go back to what we think the location.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's going to be, I mean, do you feel like you've received some direction, but probably need to look at where?
So
where is
based
the-
on how the water is going to be done with this one, where it's at currently, we'd have to do a totally different water system down by the
We
playground.
have water down there.
It's a
I understand,
different.
but it'd be a fresh water, so it'd be a pass-through water, so it'd be back to the 1 million gallons a month.
No,
it won't
no.
be passed.
No, down at the playground.
No.
Here, it would be.
Yeah, no, the water supply would supply the tank, if you will, the holding
Even if we
area
moved
for the
it down to
water.
the playground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it would hold that and keep it at the proper
Okay.
levels. So yes, it would flow water when it needs to, shut that water off, and use what it has in its recirculation
It's the
system.
same system either place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be very similar to the pool and using a recirculation system to do that, and then just taking whatever fresh water it needed to keep at appropriate levels.
And where it's at now, it would use the current pool pumps and stuff like that to cycle that water, or would it have
No,
something separate?
separate.
It's completely separate.
So really, the only benefit that you would gain by putting it close to the pool house would be electricity.
The electricity in very close proximity to fresh water. The closest freshwater source for near the playground would be the bathroom.
Yeah, let's use that water.
Yeah, let's not.
Well, there's actually a main out there.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought there
that
was.
feeds that.
Okay,
big
well,
out there.
somewhere, I'm not exactly.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, we've got utilities right there. We've got an 8-inch main that follows that road around.
Okay.
We also have three-phase
How
power
far?
not too far, so
Power's not far. Right
it's
there.
not too far. It's within a couple hundred feet. So now if it's single phase, it's right there. So I would think though that those pumps are probably three-phase pumps. They'd be more efficient that way.
So there'd be a lot of visiting and then trying to figure out exactly where there in that low-lying area is a very much a water area. They usually don't recommend putting these types of things in those as the water flows over them. It gets into all of those systems, and so it needs to be higher. The west end would be the flattest and most reasonable end possible, I think. So we would be running around to meet all of that.
Now remind me on this, we're paying for this impact fees? And
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That is correct. I'm hoping for a little more direction. I've got a pre-construction meeting Wednesday for the pool.
West side of the playground. Wow.
The west
West
side.
side, that's like clear over here,
Yeah, it's flat.
what we were talking earlier.
You don't think the
I know. I
you
was
don't think
wrong
the east
earlier.
side would work of the playground?
The east side, no. The playground's too close to the parking lot.
Right, I see.
What side, what's the
Parking.
width and everything of this thing?
I don't have that on me.
Mayor,
Well, how do you know
Council,
that spot's too small?
if we can at least just get direction that you want it near the playground, we'll evaluate
Yes.
the land
Yes.
and
The
and
possibilities.
infrastructure.
Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah, near the playground.
Okay.
Let's see what it looks like.
We'll go back to the engineers and have them rework this, see what we can do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. And thanks for all your work on that. I know there's been a lot of changes and a lot of ups and downs on this one, so thank you. Okay. Next up, the liaison report. Some of you missed it, but I went ahead and assigned everyone a date. Mr. Vess will be teaching us about administration and communications.
So I think I've seen one of these maybe in my term. I think Sean did it.
Yep.
Podium, is that where you want it from?
Please.
So I can surround myself with my people.
People.
For my liaison report.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, each council member is a liaison for a department within the city. And each year, they're asked to do a report on the department that they represent. And Mr. Vess has administration and communications.
Mayor and council. Lucky for me, I have communications in mind, so they prepared a little something. But obviously, the staff has been busy with 2024 and working their way through some stuff. So you notice they've added 3 people to the staff.
You might have the clicker.
Oh.
Matt's got the clicker.
You could have just ran it. I don't even know how to. There, that makes more sense. So they've added 3 people to the admin staff. So we kind of see the new faces, which is probably way overdue. I think we tried to take a quick survey of it. It's been probably 10 years and somewhere in the 16,000 on the population range. So everybody had worked themselves pretty thin. A lot of stuff to get in there to help with any projects that are coming up. It's kind of Justin and then and obviously another executive assistant and stuff to that nature. So the staff has gotten a little bit bigger to help everybody get through and handle the growth. Communication has been obviously the hot topic for the communication part of it, and they're doing everything they can to reach out using all the social medias and then a more traditional newsletter through emails and stuff. And trying to spend some time at Nixpo spreading that word to make sure people can find them on Facebook or to sign up for newsletters. So if anybody's not getting a newsletter, but they also have some pretty good success. If you look at the Facebook post, which is still an odd way for people to, I believe that people love to get communication, but they obviously do. Close to 1 million and then almost 1.5 million for the police page. Obviously, Joe's popular. But on a serious note, they would like to make sure that people know that the best way to run all social medias is for you guys to like the page, share the information. The more that happens, the more the clicks, the more that becomes available to the people in your Facebook market or your Facebook neighborhood or group. And that'll help that grow so that people know that that's a possibility. And they actually even, you can see they're reaching on to the Nextdoor, which is more of a newer social app, to try to get some traction in that area. Any questions about social media for the communications department? I have 2 experts in the back of the room. So to kind of just go over the people a little bit, some other major stuff that we're working on. Obviously, the 2045, that's is what's got everybody's topic. They're working on that with Nixpo, working on that with the surveys and the general public, and then some other staff meetings. So it seems to be the center of attention, so we can try to guess what the city's going to look like in 2045 and drive the bus in that direction. I don't know that they've come up with, I asked earlier if anybody guess how big this town will be in 2045? If it keeps going at this pace. But it'll need a lot of stuff, keeping Doug busy. And then for that, as they're working on communication, they are seeking, we're trying something a little different, and we're going to have some bid process to get not an in-house, but kind of thinking outside the box. They're going to have some regular contracts built with different types of graphic designers and videographers and photographers, so that as different things come up, we can have the right fit and get somebody quickly to get some artwork done, or to get a photographer on place, or video if something was to come up, and we could get that done and not have to go through a long bidding process that drags us into it and would wear the system down for some of this stuff. So, and the website, I'll say constantly is in redesign, because that's the only way websites stay up to date. So we did add into the legal team. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Some of it we're trying to get some older stuff up to date to kind of fit. Like, again, a lot of the stuff was written, we were 10,000 to 15,000 people, and trying to get the stuff adjusted to that, and also to make sure that it works so that we have everything in place to whatever changes that we'll be facing for the next years from this council, or the council will be past us, will have the power they need to do what the citizens want them to do. Is that it? That's my last slide. Any questions about admin or communications? All right.
That's perfect.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Should have had more transitions.
Oh, thank God there was no transitions.
Are PowerPoints recommended?
Yeah, that's fine. I just hate transitions or effects or stuff, just normal.
Oh, so I have to do all mine over? Cool.
Don't pull a
The
Sean.
one that I haven't
I had
started.
a different transition for every single thing. It drove him crazy.
Drove me insane. Yeah. Challenge accepted. With all the new additions, I do appreciate everything the legal department's doing. There's a lot of code that needed to be revamped and cleaned up, and they're doing a really good job with that. The new administrative assistant is finally getting things organized over in Jimmy's office, and really helping us all out. She's helping make meetings happen faster, and I think if we allowed her to be in all of them, they would stay on topic more, probably. So, doing very well with that. And then the position that Mr. Orff accepted, that's something that's really huge. A lot of people don't realize that, for us to help a new business open in the city, we have to help them along the entire way, especially if they've never opened a business before. It's kind of, you invest a lot of money into it, and a lot of people invest everything they have into whatever their business is, and it would be just a lot better if you had someone with the city that walked you through every step of the process, whether it's permitting or certain license or knowing the zoning. And that's huge, and it's well needed. And I think we've gotten to meet with a lot of developers and not just, people that want to come in from out of town, but people who live in Nixa that are willing to invest in our community. And we should hold their hand along that process. And so having that position, I think, is going to be huge. So I think we're adding some positions that we truly needed. The only downfall is we weren't able to add all of the positions that we truly need because we still have a budget. So thank you, Mr. Vest. That is the last thing on the agenda. Is there anything else from council?
Election in what, week from Tuesday?
There is an election. Yes. So get out and vote. If you're not registered, go. Anything else from staff?
I'll just note that we have our Easter egg hunt on Saturday morning.
Do what?
Our Easter egg hunt is Saturday morning.
Yeah, it is.
So looking forward to that. Helicopter drop eggs at 9:45. So you want to be there by 9:30 at the very latest. And then all the Easter egg hunts happen after the egg drop from the helicopter.
If you have not been, and I don't care how old you are, you got to go. Because it's amazing how many eggs are out there, and then in a matter of minutes, they're gone.
And we have between 18 and 19,000 eggs stuffed and ready to go, and a combined pickup time of less than 5 minutes.
It's insane. These kids are amazing.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That was my question, is first of all, how many eggs have you stuffed? And second, how do they not break?
Some of them do.
How many have I personally stuffed?
If you want to tell me, yeah.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
He hasn't stuffed it.
5.
Oh.
Not very many.
Good job.
How many of our front desk staff and fitness staff and full-time staff? Probably around 14,000.
Oh, my goodness.
And the ones from the helicopter are taped closed.
Oh, okay. Good
The
to know.
ones that we threw last year were not.
Yeah, the ones that
They
we just
weren't
normally
taped.
put out, we don't tape
Yeah.
those closed. We just throw them out.
So then you have to stuff them or just eat the candy and
Eat the egg.
Just give 'em an egg.
Put out an empty egg, yeah.
Well, we will be there. I'm excited.
And I wasn't sure, I can't remember if Mr. Drew Douglas was here the last one, but congratulations again on Mr. Douglas was selected as a Springfield Business Journal 40 under 40. So yay.
I'd like to give an update on the comprehensive plan. We are currently having a virtual open house where the public can visit nixa2045.com and view all of the preliminary findings that our consultant has come up with. And we are also extending that virtual open house until April 3rd. It was set to close, I believe, today. So we are extending it to next week. So anybody that wants to participate and see what we've been working on, go to nixa2045.com and visit the virtual open house.
All right. Good. All right. Nothing else? Be like Nick. Meeting is adjourned.